Well, okay. Why don't you talk about, because you're not a Star Wars fan. You are a Star Trek fan, first and foremost. So why don't you talk about how you feel overall, in a general sense?
Right. Overall, I was impressed. I was impressed. Like, I didn't have much expectations going in because the prequels are just so bad. It's so bad. So it's like, we left off with Revenge of the Sith, and that was shit. And honestly, I didn't care for anything Star Wars after that. I know people talk about Clone Wars and they're into Rebels, the new show. I don't care about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so going into this, I'm like, I know Abrams is a competent director. He's good. Like, I like the reboot of Star Trek that he did. I didn't like Into Darkness too much, but the 2009 film, I liked it. And I thought he could bring a lot to this. And I was like, really impressed with the pacing, and the tone was consistent. And all those things that were wrong with the prequel movies, he did right. He set up the action. And I'm sorry, but I keep going back to when Red Letter Media, they did the, Mr. Plinkett reviews, and they showed that clip of George Lucas, and he's like, it's like poetry, it repeats.
Yes.
How come he could do it right? We had in the movie... Oh, are we doing spoilers?
Yes. I think we got to put a big disclaimer that there will be
Okay,
spoilers.
so spoilers, like spoilers all around. If you don't want to get spoiled, then...
Don't listen until after you watch the movie.
Yeah, you should see the movie before you listen to this. But, okay, so there's basically a Death Star in this. They call it the Star Killer. It's like a planet.
Okay,
now.
wait, let's not get into plot points just yet.
But I have to. I mean, this is the same freaking thing as the first and third movies. You're blowing up a giant death machine.
Okay. Because that's something I want to discuss in depth.
But he made it work. Like, I wasn't sitting there like, oh God, again. But somehow they made it work.
So I'm coming from a place where, as a kid, I was a huge fan of the original trilogy. Enormous fan. My walls were plastered with Star Wars posters. I had toys, the whole 9 yards. I read all the books. I was totally into the expanded universe. I loved it. I loved everything there was. Mid-90s, before the special edition came out, was actually a really good time to be a Star Wars fan. We had a moderate amount of stuff. There was books. There was a lot of supplementary material. So, and then the prequels happened, and it completely destroyed my love for those movies, which I know a lot of people say, oh, whatever, they're just, you can ignore those movies, whatever. But I really feel like the prequels completely and utterly tainted the franchise. So it was very, very, as a burned former fan, it was very hard for me to come back to this franchise, with a completely open mind. And even though it was J.J. Abrams, I don't care. I was saying earlier, I don't care if Martin Scorsese made this film. I don't care if Quentin Tarantino made this film. I don't care. I don't care who it was. It was going to be really hard for me to come back to this without that kind of sour note, that sour taste that the prequels left. I was happy with it for the most part, but there were definitely things about it that I was like, you can definitely tell where he wanted to try really, really hard. I did find it funny that the prequels may as well have not existed in this universe. I didn't see anything borrowing from the prequels whatsoever. I don't even think I saw alien species, nothing to evoke anything from the prequels. I mean, nothing.
There was alien species, but not.
I mean, he didn't make any references to anything in the prequels specific.
No, I'm thankful
nothing.
For that.
No ships. No. I mean, maybe there were things in the background. I don't know. But at first glance, we only saw the movie once. I didn't see any aliens. I didn't see any ships. I didn't see anything that was a specific reference to the prequels. So it really was as if we only ever had the original trilogy.
Yeah. Who's Max von Sydow playing? Who the heck was he? I might have to see it again just to pick up on the little things I missed. But that was like the first characters you see is Max von Sydow on that Resistance pilot. I'm forgetting his name, Poe something.
Yeah, he to me, that was basically, he was kind of like Wedge Antilles. He was kind of the Wedge Antilles of that movie. He was kind of like something between Wedge and Han, I think.
Well, I think he was better than that. I mean, he was like ace pilot.
Yeah. But Wedge was also supposed to be, like, really, really good.
I know, Wedge was supposed to be good, but this guy was amazing.
Right.
And that made, everything in this movie just made me, like, push the prequels down in my mind even more.
Well,
because all the things they set up were like, oh, Anakin is supposed to be he's the best star pilot in the fleet. Really? Because this guy was freaking amazing, and he showed you how amazing he was.
It's like he may as well have not existed. I mean, the whole prequel trilogy may as well have not existed. So, yeah, I was happy about that. I was happy about... I will say that I think that J.J. Abrams and everyone involved in the making of this film treated it with the utmost respect, which I think was the opposite case in making the prequels. I think Lucas wanted to have his way and not be told otherwise. I think everyone working on that film was scared to say anything other than yes to him, and everyone wanted to keep their jobs. So it was a matter of, nobody say anything. George Lucas is the boss. This was not the case. I think everyone who worked on this film grew up with the original trilogy, had nothing but respect for it. I didn't feel like there was anything in the film that was gratuitous or overly slapstick or babyish or immature, but to that effect, I feel like my only gripe is that on the whole, one of my gripes, it's a very dark movie. Everything that I've been reading about how it's, it's kind of a downer, it's kind of a dark movie. It absolutely is. It's almost 2 for me.
Really?
Yeah, because if you want to compare this one to A New Hope, and I feel that that's what it was kind of trying to emulate and reference, A New Hope had a lot more lighthearted moments. I feel that overall A New Hope kind of, it's a little more of an adventure feel. It's a little more lighthearted. It's a little more hopeful feeling. This one was like, holy shit, what a downer. Like everything sucks. And my other plot point gripe with this is, why is it that the Empire is just kind of back?
Well, I thought that was a good thing, because you don't want to start the movie where everything is happy. If the Ewoks were still dancing and celebrating and shooting off fireworks, and the Republic was completely restored, and everything was great, and Leia took over or whatever, then I would be like, well, what the hell is the point? You'd just have this faction.
I'm not saying I have a problem with the Empire being back so much as it seemed really easy. It was kind of like, okay, Empire's back. Okay, but
I got the impression
30 years, I mean...
Well, I got the impression they never left. I mean, Lucas left it off, and that was his fault. He left it off where you just simply kill the Emperor and Vader, and the Empire just fell apart. Everybody was celebrating. They tore down his statue. Oh, it's gone. The Empire. Nothing is ever that simple. And I like it dark because the heroes have to come from a place and fight against something, right? And the First Order was that remnant of the Empire, but it was big, right? They were still powerful. They were still big. It's obvious the Republic put itself back together as a democracy after the Emperor was dead, and they were slowly coming back. And the rebellion, well, I guess it's called the Resistance now, is still around. And
I think they're still using the rebellion insignia, though, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, even though it wasn't called that.
It just felt a little too easy. It was like, okay, boom, they're back. We're back to square one. Lots of Nazi imagery.
Yeah.
I don't know if you...
Oh, yeah. The First Order, the red flags,
holy
and how
cow.
Standing, and they saluted that general who gave that
speech. I looked at you, I was like, they're throwing the...
Well, also, you notice how impassioned his speech was.
Yes.
His speech on the Star
he was like shaking.
He was shaking
like crazy.
And fucking his mouth. He was evoking Hitler, basically. He was doing that. And they loved it, right? And then they went and blew up like 6 planets.
And the way the stormtroopers were all lined up, and they had the TIE fighters lined up, I was like, whoa, okay.
Well, there was a little bit of convenience in there. I like when they were like on Jakku. I don't know. You're the Star Wars expert. Is this a planet that we've seen before, or is this a whole new place?
This is new.
Okay, so they're running, and then she's like, "We have to take this ship," and then they blow it up, right? And it's like, okay, the garbage ship it is. It just happens to be the Millennium Falcon.
That was a cute joke.
But I know it was a cute joke, but. Okay, that was there conveniently, and it worked conveniently, and she could.
Yeah, of course.
There was a lot of convenience.
It's the same convenience you find in any zombie apocalypse story with a working car after 6 months.
Right,
or
she's like, "Oh, it's just been sitting here for years.
Just start it up.
Take off.
There's no tire rot or leakage or it's full of gas, and like my other thing that I kind of had an issue with was we really didn't need another Death Star movie. Like I just come on, like. Come up with something else, please, for the love of God. Yes, it was cool. It was enormous. It was like a planet. It drained suns, which is a hell of a lot more intimidating than it just fires a laser. It can hit multiple targets at once, and that was super dark. Like you don't see it from a distance, like Alderaan blowing up in A New Hope. This is like you see the people's faces, and then their planet blows up.
That was like an anime, man.
That was
messed
up.
You just saw the light come down, and then that was it.
I think that's why a lot of people are saying this one was so dark. Is like
right.
That's what I mean when I say A New Hope is like Alderaan's over there. Like it's horrible to watch, but it's over there. This is like hey, let's show a bunch of people on these planets before they blow up.
Right.
Like, that's pretty
But I think
creepy.
the things you're pointing out is like it was a different time when they made Star Wars, right?
Sure.
Now audiences expect something a little more interactive and deeper. He showed you these people's faces before that death laser hit them.
That's what I mean.
And he didn't just shoot one planet. This is like Death Star on steroids, man. He shot like 6 planets at once, just boom, 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 with one shot.
Yeah,
you know.
I did like the shots from places that weren't being blown up, seeing the trails and seeing the explosions from far away to kind of, bring home the gravity of the situation. And it resembled like the trails you see from planes and stuff. Like,
well, I will bring up that's not how light works, and nobody on those other planets should have seen that happen until years later.
I was thinking myself that the science of that is and I'm not the smartest person, so I'm not super sciencey, but even I was like, yeah, I don't know about the science of that. That seems a little weird.
Right.
But okay, all that aside, my only other thing, I don't know about the casting of Kylo Ren. I don't know how I feel about that guy.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think he did a bad job. Like, he was good. I don't know I didn't have any expectations. But I didn't expect him to be like a Darth Maul or another Vader, right? You never see Vader, right? Until the
very, very end.
Right.
Yeah.
But now, this is a different time now. Everyone needs FaceTime. So he took off that mask a few times. You see his face. But
there's a whole chunk of the movie where he's just not even wearing. The last like third of the movie, he's not even wearing.
I mean, I'll give him credit. He kept that mask on longer than freaking Spider-Man keeps his mask on. But that's just the thing now. These actors need FaceTime, so they just take their mask off. But I didn't have any expectations for him. I thought he did a good job, and he played up his role pretty well. As he seems torn. Man, I'll give Abrams huge credit. He is great at using lighting. That scene on the bridge, and you saw the blue.
We'll get to that.
Man, you're stepping all over.
I know. I want to talk about that later because that's a whole other thing. I think my problem with him is I didn't find him too intimidating. He's very young. He's very slight. I just don't know. And we didn't get to see that much of him. So
I thought he established himself like a badass right off the bat. I mean, what's his name? Poe. What's that pilot's name? Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember his name, but he shoots his blaster at him, right? And Kylo Ren didn't...
Poe Dameron.
Yeah, he didn't just deflect that laser. He stopped it.
Yes, that was cool. That was very cool.
I mean, that's badass. And he froze him, right? He just locked him up. This isn't like Vader at dinner going, pew, 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 sit down and eat. Like Vader was badass, right? Yeah. He deflected it. This guy stopped the laser and held it there until he was ready to let it fly. Yeah. Which is... That was... impressive.
That was really cool. I don't know, maybe if we get a little more time with him in the next movie, I'll feel differently. He was no Anakin. I mean, he was not a whiny, like, you really felt for him. Plot-wise, I had an issue with Han and Leia having that whole exposition talk about, it's like, I don't want to hear about this way. I want to experience it differently. I want to absorb the information differently. I don't want to overhear a conversation you guys are having that's very obviously there to let the audience know what his deal is. And it's funny because as a plot thing, the earliest rumors about this movie was that they were going to take the expanded universe story from way back in the day, from the 90s, that Han and Leia's kids go to the Jedi Academy to study under Luke to control their powers. And then they went, no, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. It's not Anakin. Anakin is their son. Their, I think, youngest son. No, it's not Anakin. Well, it basically is, except his name isn't Anakin.
Right. Well, we don't know what his name is. Kylo Ren is obviously...
He said Ben.
Oh, he said Ben.
He called him Ben really briefly.
Oh, that's right. He did yell it out. I guess that's a nod to Kenobi, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel like he did a bad job. He's obviously no Vader because he doesn't contain his emotions. Like when that guy gives him the bad news, like the droid escaped and he flipped out and
yes,
chops up
that
the
was
console.
really good.
Yeah, he obviously is torn. He's like raging out of control, right? And then the guy's like, he says anything else, and the guy's like, oh yeah, and he tells him something, and just pulled him and force choked him right there.
It's funny because Anakin was presented as in the prequels as really childish, very whiny, very whatever. But even he kind of tried to a degree would stifle his emotions, I guess. Him, it's like Kylo Ren, he throws a temper tantrum.
Yeah,
he has this lashing out, and then he's like, okay,
yeah,
I got it out. back to
he vents.
I want to know that story. I want to know what happened about, all this stuff that happened prior to this movie about them sending him away, and he went to go study with Luke and all this stuff. And I guess it's a whole other can of worms because it wasn't really touched on in this movie beyond Han and Leia talking. I want to know more, but I don't want to know more through a conversation. I want to experience it another way. So that's that, and I guess we'll find out more of that in the next movie, but it is what it
something else. John Boyega's funny.
Oh, he's great!
He's hilarious. I think he's like the funniest character in any of the movies.
He's great. I love that he brought his own kind of thing to the film. Like, he wasn't trying to be Han, he wasn't trying to be Luke, he was bringing his own thing, and it was great.
I like he's the fish out of water.
Yes.
He's like being introduced to the Force and all this stuff, and he's, defected from the First Order. He's a stormtrooper who just has battle fatigue, he can't handle it, and he leaves. Well, he escapes with Poe, and he helps him
and that
get
answers
away.
the big question from the trailers that no one knew if he was in disguise and stowing away or if he really was a stormtrooper.
No, I love that defection thing.
Yeah.
I love that he defects, he gets the heck out of there, and he's like, feels he needs to run, and he runs into Rey, and they form a bond, and he passes himself off as resistance. I think all that was really well done. But his humor was so good. I mean, it was genuine.
It was very genuine. It fit. It didn't feel out of place. It wasn't stupid.
Oh, it just like eats me up, like how stupid Jar Jar was. Like, he's just inserted into the
There's
prequels.
your black character, and
right? He's just inserted
in
into the prequels, and like anybody who likes that is an idiot. Like, she's
it was for babies.
Oh, please!
It was for babies.
Yeah, Anakin roasting on the lava
No,
river.
well, that first movie for sure was for babies.
Yeah,
he was great. He was so charming and relatable, and he's the kind of guy you could see yourself being friends with. Like, he's just so relatable and so real.
Yeah. Can I contrast something? Okay, so I have to go back to the Falcon. Rey gets in the Falcon, right, and they take off. And they're being chased by TIE fighters on Jakku, and they're flying around, and she's flying it like a pro, right? She's like, he's gunning, and you can tell he's learning to shoot. He knows how to shoot because he's a ground stormtrooper. He's not a pilot, but he's getting it. And she's just natural. Like, she's flying around, she's dodging these TIE fighters, she's pulling off these stunts, and flying through the destroyed Star Destroyer. What is that? What's it called? The Star Destroyer. Yeah.
Yep.
She's flying through that like a pro, and it just that's how you do it, right? That's how it was hinted that the Force was with her, I guess, and that's why she was able to pilot the ship so well. That's why she was doing the things she was doing, because everything was falling into place for her. But that's how you do it.
But it wasn't shoehorned in.
It wasn't.
It wasn't midichlorians.
Yes, it wasn't midichlorians. It wasn't like she didn't say anything goofy like, "Oh, spinning, that's a good trick."
I'll try that. That's a good trick.
Yeah, that was so contrived and dumb. Like, it's like he was bumbling his way through flying. But this was
the way
right.
way this film flowed was very natural. The way the characters acted was very natural. There was nothing shoehorned in or forcefully put in there. Everything was there for a reason. And she was a great character too. I think I liked Finn a little more just because he was funny and charming and everything, but I really, really liked her too.
It was fantastic. Everyone acted. Nobody was monotone. No one was sitting around
People
and
had a range of emotions. Yeah.
And oh my God, real environments.
Yes.
And real sets and props.
Yes.
Like, they go into that wherever Han Solo takes him, that bar. I don't know what that is. It looked like the place where they had the ceremony in the first movie, and they got the awards.
Yeah, the temple thing. Yeah.
And even the banners were still hanging there.
I don't know if that was supposed to be. I don't think that was supposed to be the same place, but it was one of those things that I could tell he was trying to evoke visuals from. The first.
I was like,
trilogy.
Is that where they got the trophies? Does it look?
I want to talk about Rey a little bit because I really liked her too, even though. Out of the two of them, I really liked Finn a whole lot. I liked her too. And I love, and people may roll their eyes at this, but I love that there is a strong female character, completely natural. It wasn't forced. Beyond her saying, I can take care of myself, there was no like, I don't need no man or, girl power or whatever. It was like, there's a gang of like 10 guys circling her. and she takes him out, and she doesn't take him out in a way that looks like, the Matrix or something. She struggles a little bit. She gets beat up a little bit, but at the end of the day, she took care of herself.
Yeah, there was fantastic things in this movie that I wanted to see. First of all, the fighting was great.
Yeah,
it was natural. It wasn't all lightsaber fights. There was a lot of gunplay too, and I'm impressed. Harrison Ford wasn't cranky old Harrison Ford. He felt like Han Solo again.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
I'll give him a lot of credit. Like, he's old, right?
I kind of wanted to cry when I saw him because he's so old, and I feel like he could barely handle this.
Well, he put in a lot of energy. Like, let me tell you, I'm way more impressed with the energy he gave in this movie than I saw Ender's Game, and that was a few years ago. And that is old cranky Harrison Ford.
Right.
And even Indiana Jones felt like phoned in. But this, I think he gave it his all, and I was really impressed.
It could be a matter of, on a scale of, wanting to do a film versus not wanting to do a film. I think this was something he wanted to do.
He had the liners and stuff, and also, like, he can shoot, right? I love that, the badass, he shot the guy right behind his back, and, and he takes Chewie's, like, his giant...
His crossbow.
His crossbow blaster, and just blows those guys away, and he's like, I like this. It's pretty funny.
I feel like he gave it 100%, and I gotta give it to him for that, but man, it made me sad. Like, he just... And I could tell, like, there were shots where he was running and stuff, and I was like, it looks hard for him, and I just felt bad, and... Man, but I will give credit where credit's due. Like, he definitely wanted to be there. He wasn't, like, phoning it in, like you said. It was really, he wanted to be there. He wanted to do this. Part-time, yeah, exactly. So I was happy about that. He was in it a lot more than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, once he showed up.
He was in most of the movie.
Pretty much there. Okay, a couple of things. One, has he been looking for the Falcon all that time? Because I got that impression he was just doing other stuff while he was looking for it.
The impression... Well, he mentions at one point that someone stole it from him, and then it passed through numerous hands.
As a fan, did any of those names sound familiar?
No.
Because he's like, is it Duquesne?
No, but understand also that I haven't been paying attention to Star Wars stuff since Episode 1 came out.
Yeah.
So in terms of the expanded universe, also they basically just rewrote the entire expanded universe. So
yeah,
I'm not up to date on that stuff.
I didn't hear Lando's name anywhere in there.
No, come to think of it, I don't know if he's going to have anything to do with these movies.
I don't think so either. He didn't mention him at all. And okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Was he the last one to fly the Millennium Falcon, as you said?
In cinema, yeah.
Yeah.
In Jedi. Han doesn't fly the Falcon in Jedi.
Right, he flies it.
Yeah.
So what the heck happened to him?
Unless they're going to bring him in the next one. Nothing's off the table. I mean, they'll bring back whoever they feel they need to bring back.
Do you like Admiral Akbar showing up?
That was great. I thought he would stick a meme in there, but...
Like, say it's a trap?
Yeah, or something.
Well, I don't think he wanted to pop... He popped solo references. I think if he said it's a trap, it would just be too much.
It'd be too much, yeah.
But he did it well.
Man, they got a good costume. They did a good costume.
Oh my god, the costumes and prosthetics. There were costumes and prosthetics. Yes. There weren't CG little aliens everywhere.
I think the little alien woman whose place they go to
with the glasses, right? Those
I think that I could be wrong on this, but I think it was motion capture, and the where her mouth is, that was real.
Yeah. And
they motion capture CG the rest of it.
Looked, because I'm like, her face looks good, but it's weird. I couldn't put my finger on it.
Yeah, but if you looked at her mouth looked pretty real.
Yeah.
Compared to the rest of her face. I keep thinking to that gross diner alien that Obi-Wan goes to see in Episode 2.
Jetster.
And compared to her, and it's like, that's basically the same thing. They go to like an alien friend for help and whatever.
But she was real.
But she was so likable, and so again, like, likable characters.
Yes,
like,
but that was the thing too. It's like, this was a real set.
Yes.
With real actors.
Yes.
There was weird looking people, and there was also aliens, but they were all in costume, and it was a real place, and it felt real.
Yes.
Kenobi in that movie, he was in a green room staring at nothing. You could tell it was so fake that 50s diner, really?
I don't know what that was about. He thought it was cute, I guess. I don't know. But yes, I liked, and of course, that was one of the many, many parallels in this movie was it was basically the cantina scene shot for shot. Like the even the timing of the cuts was the cantina scene, like,
and the band playing.
The band playing. So I noticed I could take shots, and it wasn't just A New Hope, but there were things that he took visually from all three of the original trilogy movies, mostly A New Hope, but a little bit of everything, that I literally could do side by side. Like, this is from this is from this. A lot of the interior of not the Death Star, whatever the hell it is.
The Star Killer.
The Star Killer, thank you. Again, shot for shot. There was stuff, there were some down shots that looked like a matte painting, just like A New Hope, which, you know, of course I appreciated because it shows some level of care. But this is my thing. I feel that he almost did it a little too much. He was almost trying to stay a little too close to A New Hope in some places. There were some things that I was like, especially the Death Star stuff. There were some parts of those scenes that I was like, man, if this wasn't being shot in HD and all shiny and stuff, you almost might not be able to tell the difference, like right down to the backgrounds.
Well, I did have a problem because he makes a trench run. Like that,
that's what I mean. That kind of stuff.
I can't remember his name. Post something. He makes a trench run.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, really? They're doing a trench run on the hair.
Yeah.
And I mean, it looked good, but I was like, oh my god, this is the trench run.
Yep. Even the little command center that the Resistance had was just like in A New Hope. I mean,
yeah, why are they in a dirty little command center? It's like, you won the war. It's like, don't you have a little better base?
Well, that was kind of my problem was, you know, the rebels were supposed to have this massive victory at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And we're kind of back to square one.
Yeah. Wouldn't the Republic have given them tons of resources? Like, they're in this crappy little base on this planet. That was my problem. It's like, you should have a lot more than that.
It felt like the Resistance was on the run again.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, from the First Order. And then it's like, but how did the Republic go back to democracy and the Senate have a fleet that's against them, but the First Order is so powerful? And then to build this base, I mean, they showed it in the little holograms, like, this was the Death Star, and this is the Star Killer, and it's like 100 times the size, and it eats stars to power itself. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
You know, it can blow up multiple planets at once.
So that was kind of my thing, was that I felt that for the sake of making parallels to the first movie, to A New Hope, that we kind of went back to square one, right? We're kind of back where we started. You could almost, if not for the original trilogy, it would almost be a reboot when you think about it. I mean, it was almost there. Right. There were so many parallels to the first, to A New Hope, and it wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's like, we got to get so far away from the prequels that we basically got to start over again. Okay,
let me ask you something. They go in this room and they talk to giant hologram, not the Emperor, whatever his name.
Again, parallels.
You know, Scorpan, what was his name?
Snoke.
Snoke, right. And he's like, I don't know, 30 feet tall.
He's the Emperor.
At least his hologram is.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if he's really big or really tiny. I don't know. His hologram's huge. There's a room just to talk to him because that room has no purpose.
Well, you remember also in Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader speaks to a very large Palpatine head hologram. So I don't know if that's what that's supposed to be.
Yeah, but it wasn't a head. I mean, he was sitting on a throne.
It was his whole body.
Yeah, and I gotta say, at least they improved the holograms. It's not like blue television anymore, like hazy.
Only when it turns off. It
looked like he was there.
Yeah.
And then they turned it off and realized, oh, he's not there.
Yeah, so that obviously that's going to play a larger role. That's the only thing, is that the movie is kind of making a lot of assumptions in terms of, you know, where all the characters are at the start of the film, what happened in between those 30 years, you know. But yeah, I mean, so I found it interesting that both Finn and Rey had they both had characteristics of the three main characters of the original trilogy. They each had things here and there Neither of them was a cast of like she wasn't Leia, he wasn't Han, or Luke.
They just had a mixture of
yes.
them. And then she's really the Jedi, and he's because it's kind of reversed. Remember, Luke was manning the guns, and Han Solo was the pilot, but it's like reversed now.
Yeah.
And I found it great. Like this was a lightsaber fight that had a movie around it that was good. It wasn't like Phantom Menace where we got duped with the
lightsaber fight was great.
It was great, and Finn steps up, right, and he goes to fight him with a lightsaber, and he has no idea what he's doing, and actually holds his own for a bit, right? But obviously Kylo Ren, knows what he's doing.
Well, yeah, I love that neither of them was really versed in using a lightsaber or any kind of sword, anything. Yeah. And it was reflected in the fight. Both of them were a little clumsy. They weren't really, they were just kind of trying to survive and fight this guy. Mm-hmm. Finn at one point, he's Kylo Ren's like burning his clothes and he's practically slicing through him at one point.
Right. Like Kylo Ren didn't just own him. Like he actually injured him with his lightsaber.
He really hurt him.
Yeah. And then Rey steps up, and then I guess she uses the Force, because I get the impression
kind of, but it's not. It's there. It's definitely there, but she's not like, gee golly gosh, I have the Force. Let me beat this guy's ass. She just manages to hold her own enough to get away.
Yeah, she injures him. Oh, she injured him pretty bad.
She injures him, but I think at the end of the day, if he really wanted to mess her up, and she had nowhere to go.
No, I don't think he wanted to kill her because he offered to teach her. He said, you need a teacher.
So here's my thing. I got the impression, and I could be wrong, but through the entire film, the implication that they were siblings.
I kind of did too. I was wondering about that because she had that weird flashback when she went in the room and she touched the saber. You see a hallway. It's obviously a ship. Could be a Star Destroyer, could be a Rebel ship. I don't know. Then it gets crushed. So you see all this imagery, and then she's a baby, and a ship takes off. So
she's being left.
She's being left, just like Luke was. So you don't know, but I don't know if they might be half siblings
or something. But I think they're related.
They think they're related, but she's not Han's daughter. I think what they are gonna say is she's Luke's daughter somehow.
Well, then they're not siblings; they're cousins.
Cousins, yeah.
Maybe. I just feel, because don't forget that early trailer where Luke had that, he spoke those lines about, I had it, my sister had it, you had it too.
Yeah, I like that how that wasn't anywhere in the movie.
Well, it's one of two things. Either it was done specifically for the trailer, or it was a scene that was cut.
Right.
One of the two.
Also, she has a flash. In her flash, didn't she see the thing where he puts his robot hand on R2-D2?
Yes. There was a fight. I believe the implication was it was a fight between Luke and Kylo Ren, and something about him leaving,
Yeah.
But I do find it funny that they swore up and down that this was not the plot, and lo and behold, this was the plot.
Oh, they had to cover it up. Can I say I could have done without C-3PO? I could have done without him.
He wasn't in it that much.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Don't get rid of him. Get rid of him and his red arm. I don't care why you have a red arm. It's just kind of there, and it's like, I don't give a shit, dude.
I don't know if that was a reference to in Empire. He has an arm removed. I don't know if that was
maybe, but it's 30 years later, dude.
Yeah.
Get a new arm.
No. I mean, in Jedi, he had his arms back.
Yeah,
I think that may have been a little nod to that.
I know there's nods to the movies, but like, just go away. R2-D2 was turned on. I was like, oh, he's in low power mode. You go in low power mode. Go sit in the corner.
It was like a dog that's sad that his master left, and he's just waiting for him.
Right. That until she had the flashback, and I think Luke programmed him somehow with the Force. Like, put his robot hand on him and used Force programming and made him do. I don't know what he was doing.
BB-8 holding plans to
yes,
not plans to the Death Star. That's what I mean when I say I feel like it was a little too much. It was a little too many parallels.
Well, there's too many parallels. There's also the map was too much convenience. I don't know how they would make that work, but I didn't like oh, there's this uncharted region of the galaxy that we don't know. And
That's where Luke is.
Yeah, but they saw the small chunk that she had. Nobody figured out, hey, there's a hole here in the map.
Yeah.
Put that in the hole. That only happened at the end. I'm like, you fools didn't figure this out? Nobody has another map besides R2-D2.
I think this story about Kylo Ren wanting to find Luke and kill him is going to be a kind of a redo of Anakin versus Obi-Wan. Like, I think this is going to be retribution for that awful nonsense in the prequels where he's going to do it right. He's going to have a real showdown that doesn't involve a lava pit and all this other nonsense, like whining and shouting and you're holding me back and all this nonsense. I kind of feel like this is his take. This is Abrams' take on that, on the student versus the teacher kind of thing.
Sure. And obviously, like, they conveniently, like, what is it, Snopes?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, find Kylo Ren. It's time to complete his training. It's like, how about give him a bandage? You got his ass handed to him, by Rey. And he's kind of left out in the wilderness.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it convenient because you don't see them get away. The whole planet blows up.
Right.
Also, Poe got video game skills because he flies around shooting those targets like Star Fox.
Yeah.
I was like, this is like a video game. Yeah. He's just like pew 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 pew. I
want to see more of him because he's very likable. He's very cool. We didn't get to see too much of him because we focused on the two main characters. But
you think he's dead.
Right. I think that Finn made the assumption that he had been captured. I think. No. He said he didn't make it. He said okay.
It. Well, he pulls the jacket out.
Poe is gonna be the third character in the next movie. I'm sure he's gonna be the hotshot pilot character in the next movie. So we got to talk about the major spoiler. The spoiler.
Oh, yeah.
So be warned.
We've been just dishing out spoilers.
We've been dishing out spoilers, but this is the big one.
Like, this is the king.
So stop now if you don't want to hear this.
If you don't want to have feels.
So we got to talk about what happens to Han. It's bad news.
Yeah.
It's bad news.
Well, he goes to confront his son.
Yeah.
And and that's where I complimented the use of lighting because like that blue-red thing he had going on was really good. And then the light shuts off.
Again,
just red.
Again, a reference to the Darth Vader Luke fight in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, the blue and the red sabers. Yeah. So, but I mean, it was brilliant. And then, Kylo Ren just kills him.
Yep.
He just
mercilessly
But I like the quote. He's like, "I'm not strong enough to. I need you to do something." And I knew it was coming. I'm like, "Oh, I knew it was coming too."
I'm like, "Get off that bridge."
Yeah.
Get off that bridge.
Yeah.
I think that there was more than just story reasons for doing this. I think they knew full well that Harrison Ford was not going to be able to handle another one of these movies doing anything other than talking.
Right.
And it was kind of sad for both story reasons and for real life reasons. It's like, it kind of felt like that moment was the passing of the torch to the new characters.
Right.
Like, I'm done. Here you go. I took you through this particular film, this adventure. Like, now it's your turn. It has to be the movie that everyone's tiptoeing. This moment has to be the one that everybody's tiptoeing around. The big, not just because it's a big spoiler, but because it's very symbolic of kind of what's happening with Star Wars now. Right. So the original 3 actors are getting up there. None of them were in it. Well, Harrison Ford was in it a lot, but Carrie Fisher was not in it a lot. And we'll talk about Luke's role or non-role.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of sad to me. That did make me a little sad.
It made me sad too. It's just like, he's getting too old to do these movies. And unless Disney was pulling off a Lord of the Rings thing where they would film all these movies at once, then maybe they would have kept him around. But I don't think
they could because there was just it was such a massive undertaking in terms of constructing physical set pieces.
Yeah, but I don't know. Still, Lord of the Rings did it. They did it.
Yeah. It's not impossible.
It's not impossible. Lord of the Rings was a big undertaking, and they did it. But
it's not impossible. It's just
I
tough.
don't think Disney was going to do that and bank on. Although they are going to the bank now, I guarantee that. But they didn't. They wouldn't want to bank on making 3 movies at once and not having it be just a smash hit, like super hit. But it is.
And so not only was the blue and red thing a reference to Empire, but the whole scene was a reference to Obi-Wan getting killed in A New Hope.
Right.
The whole thing was a reference to that. The only difference is it wasn't teacher and student, it was father and son, but...
Well, I mean they were father and son. Oh.
No, Obi-Wan and Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Right down to the no. Like, you know, it was like... So it was very... it was kind of heart-wrenching. It was like, oh,
it
man.
Was. And I love Han Solo, and he's pretty badass.
Everyone loves. How can you not?
You like those human characters. Like, he didn't have the Force. He didn't really buy into it, and you know, he's just badass on his own. He used a gun, and he knew how to fly. It was a father trying desperately to appeal to his son, and you know, like, even though I had some issues with the Han and Leia scenes, you know that what you do know, without them saying much, is that them losing their son ripped them apart. That was the end of their relationship, essentially. Right. He said he went back to pirating.
He's like, what am I going to do? I'm going to go back to doing what I do. And she went back to doing what she did. And you know, so that was what was really heart-wrenching about it. This was his last attempt at salvaging his life, salvaging all of their lives. And it was like, and I don't think that Kylo Ren was just messing with him. I think he really was, like, he had tears in his eyes. He was really genuinely, like, struggling. Because he had that scene when he was by himself talking to Darth Vader's helmet, like, I can't control this. Like, I don't. It's funny, he's being pulled to the light side instead of the dark side, like, so that was kind of different, but...
Well, we just don't have enough information. That's one problem I had with this movie. Like, Snoke comes out of nowhere, like, just takes the First Order or whatever. We don't know who this guy is.
He's Emperor Palpatine. Yeah,
but he's just there, and he takes over. And I guess he knows about the Force because he's like, he's gonna complete Kylo Ren's training. It's like, who is this guy? There weren't a lot of Jedi.
To be fair, that's what Palpatine was before the prequels. He was just this dude that showed up. We really didn't know anything about him.
Right, but why are all these Sith around, and how do they conveniently show up?
Yeah, I'm a little unclear about, and maybe this is just me not paying close enough attention, but I'm a little unclear. I mean, it said in the title crawl that Luke is the last Jedi.
Yeah.
But
obviously not.
You know, there are other people using it. So I don't know if that's intentional wording or what. But I have to think that Rey is somehow related to Luke or Leia or someone.
Luke's daughter. No. If she was related to Leia, Leia would know. You would have seen it, right? They hugged at the end and whatever.
Yeah.
If she was Leia's daughter, Leia would have just flat out said something that we left you on the planet. But it would have been spelled out for the audience. But that wasn't the case. And the flashback and the fact that the little woman with the glasses, I want to call her Edna Mode because she looks like Edna Mode from Incredibles.
Yeah.
That she's like, oh, the saber called to you. It's like, Luke's saber called to you, and then you have this flashback involving him. It's pretty much spelling it out that you're his daughter. Like, that's what I got out of it. Like, she's his daughter.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. I have to think that she's related to them, one of them in some way. So, and of course we had the last scene, which, you know, that I kind of feel like was a little bit of a bait and switch. They made it sound like Mark Hamill was really going to be in this movie.
Well, he's in it for like 5 seconds.
He's literally in it for maybe 3 shots.
Yeah.
And that explains why he's not in the poster.
Yeah.
I was completely wrong. I thought he was going to be Kylo Ren, or he was dead.
A lot of people thought that, like, he had turned to the dark side and changed his name and all this stuff. But no, he's sitting on a mountaintop.
He's chilling on a mountain in New Zealand.
Yeah. And has a big beard and looks like
Looks like Obi-Wan, yep.
You know?
He's even wearing the same exact
Kind of
robes as
yeah.
Obi-Wan and everything, so...
And he's staring at a grave, too, right?
Was he?
It looked like a little tombstone was on the ground, and he's
Maybe.
looking at it. I don't know who that's supposed to be. Maybe that's the wife that
I was going to say maybe it was the mother. That was the other scene that made me have feelings, was seeing her, not a word. Those are the scenes that get me. Not a word spoken. She's just holding the lightsaber, like, here you go. And not a word is spoken between them.
Well, that's called directing and acting. Because I don't feel the prequels could do any of that. They were talking all they did was freaking talk, time. Yeah. And they didn't let anything emote. There was so much emoting and acting going on. BB-88 is beeping and whistling and rolling around. And you understand what this thing is saying through her, right? Yep. She's answering it. And you're like, oh, that's what he said.
Abrams like Luke talking to R2.
I swear, if it was anyone else, they would have put up subtitles or something. But no, he left it beeping and whistling.
It was like Luke talking to R2 in the original trilogy.
And he left that alone, and it worked so well. Yep. And I love it. They made a good point because Finn is talking to him, and he's like, I don't understand droid. Like, that was a good point. That's the first...
I don't speak that.
Yeah. That's the first time I've ever heard anyone say that. Like, they don't understand it. I'm like... Thank you. I was wondering what the hell. Like, everyone understands every language in Star Wars, and he went, I don't understand that.
So I thought that last scene was brilliant. As short as it was brilliant. It was like, but again, it's one of those epic movies where it's like we're just getting started. Like the shit's really gonna hit the fan the next movie. You're really, and it's funny because it almost felt like it was up in the air most of the movie whether Finn or Rey was going to be the one learning Jedi stuff.
Right, they tricked you. In the poster, it's John Boyega holding the lightsaber,
and he does use it.
And he does use it.
He does use it, so it's like, could be either or. But then, partway through the movie, they're talking about she's the one with force powers and all this stuff, and they show her using it a little bit.
Right. But against okay, I was a little confused. That stormtrooper calls him a traitor, right? Then whips out this electrical staff thing that somehow repels lightsabers?
Okay, so to my understanding, and this is goes to show you how out of touch I am with expanded universe stuff. I was reading the other day, there is like one known metal that can withstand lightsaber beams. And I think that's what that was supposed to be.
So he just happened to arm this guy just in case he ran into a lightsaber, even though no one has run into lightsabers
unless
for
it's
years.
just something that the not the Empire, whatever the hell they're called.
The First Order. Yeah.
The First Order uses.
That's weird because it's only useful against Jedi, which there are none of. Luke has disappeared, right? Nobody's walking around with a lightsaber except Kylo Ren.
I mean, at the end of the day, this is still a Star Wars movie, and you still gotta advertise toys in it. So
right. But it just was just stuck there for a fight. You know,
sure.
It looked cool, but it's like, dude, why are you carrying this thing around? All the other stormtroopers are just carrying different varieties of blasters.
Unless there was more to that than I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. Other than product placement, I couldn't tell you what that's about.
Yeah, he just happened to be prepared in case he ran into a lightsaber, which he does. And they have this cool fight, and this material, or it looks like it had an electrical field around it, can withstand lightsabers. Yeah. And he was pretty much beating him, too. Until
he was kind of beating the crap out of him.
Solo just
he knocked him over at one point.
Yeah. Although John Boyega holding his own with a lightsaber. And I like that, too. Like, I always thought, what if a normal person used a lightsaber?
Like, what if Han grabbed a lightsaber?
Yeah. And it worked, and he used it. He cut up some of the stormtroopers with it. Because he's just swinging around with a guy like, oh, I don't know how to use a sword, but any port in a storm, right? And he's just chopping them, he's stabbing them. Yeah. Then he gets a blaster, he's like, oh, I know how to use this, and he starts shooting them. That was cool.
They were definitely running with the idea that he was the one with force powers for a good chunk of the movie.
That was a bait and switch.
And then, then it's her. I mean, who knows? Maybe they both will. I don't know. But, and the only other thing I really wanted to touch on was the visuals were fantastic. I mean, there were so many visuals that evoked the original trilogy, especially the first film. There was shots that were meant to imply scale that looked like matte paintings. That I was like, oh my god, I haven't seen that in movies in like 20 years. Like, oh my god, it looked so good. A lot of the Death Star stuff, the stuff early in the movie when she's in the Star Destroyer scavenging, there was a lot of up shots and down shots that just had this beautiful painterly look to them.
Painterly, and the lighting.
The lighting was beautiful. That's one thing I will always give Abrams.
Yeah, well,
lighting.
That's one thing you can't do on a freaking green screen.
No, everything has that flat, crappy, even lighting because you have to.
Yeah.
So I really got to hand it to both to Abrams, to the concept artists. The visuals were absolutely fantastic. Like that was one thing completely lacking from the prequels. You just had this shiny veneer of CG everything that looked very plastic and fake. This was like, everything felt real. There was a very grand scale. Obviously, Abrams has an eye for this stuff because you have the crashed Star Destroyer in the sand. Just these
and she lives in an overturned at.
That was brilliant. Like the Starkiller planet, just enormous and it's very snowy. Like everything was just very cinematic, very like you cannot. That's one thing you can't take away from Abrams. Visuals are always fantastic with him. You can't take that away from him. Lighting, visuals, the way shots are framed.
And also you threw a little bit of Trek stuff in there. With the little argument Rey and Han Solo had when she was they were having a problem with the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, yeah.
And they were kind of throwing out technobabble.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, they never do that in Star Wars.
No,
and
never.
They kind of little nod to Star Trek. They were talking about bypassing this and doing that. I was like, wow, there's technobabble in here. Like, the ships just work, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what makes them fly or anything. And
yeah.
there was a little, so I enjoyed that. Also, their light speed, which is like warp speed, because they just pop between planets in like minutes, you know.
Yeah.
And the effect was cool because Lucas never showed you what it looks like when they're transitioning.
Looked a little bit like warp speed in Star Trek.
It does. It looks like warp speed when they got in there. There's like a tunnel, like that blue.
Yep.
I like, but he did the transition, like they go into light speed.
No, there was in Empire. You did see it from the cockpit a little bit. A little bit, you saw it.
You did?
A little bit.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, when they come out of the, I want to say when they come out of, when they go to that asteroid.
Yeah.
I think they I don't know.
Yeah, but they just show them slowing down.
Yeah.
They don't show them actually flying.
Right. They don't really show it for any length of time. It's just quick.
This time they show it, you know, but they have effects now. But he kind of might look like warp speed.
Yeah, definitely. So, trying to think if there's anything else.
Well, just summarize it. Just say what did you like and what did you not like? Just real
quick. I liked I love Finn. There's a great character. I like Rey. I'm not completely in love with her yet, but she's very likable. Mm-hmm. I love the visuals. I love for the most part I like the pacing. I feel like it slowed down in a few parts, but the old films did that too, so I can't really nitpick that. What I didn't like, too many parallels. Like, I like seeing some, but I feel like he took every possible opportunity to make parallels. Every possible opportunity. We didn't need that much. Don't replicate A New Hope. Give us something new. I didn't like that we were back into this convenient place of the little guy versus the big guy, good versus evil, the rebels versus the Empire. We've seen that. We've done that. We've seen a Death Star twice. You know, he kind of wanted to do all this stuff on a bigger scale, I guess, but I want to see something different, and I hope the next film is going to show some different stuff. I wanted to care a little more about Kylo Ren. I kind of wasn't 100% there with that. I wasn't 100% on board with the actor. So I'm hoping that there's more to do with him the next film.
Sure. I think it was really good. I think it was definitely a character-driven movie, and everybody played their roles real well. John Boyega killed it.
He was great.
Finn was fantastic. Rey was fantastic. I actually had no problem with Kylo Ren. I feel like he played that well as a torn, kind of young guy who's trying to emulate Vader, but still has feelings for his past, and he has this grudge against Luke and whatever, and he's just full of anger, and he really lashes out. Like, wow, I remember Anakin was supposed to be full of anger, and he just pouted and whined. This guy smashes stuff and chokes people. Shit, yeah. Like, no, and he's really badass. Like, that's how he's supposed to be badass. My problems is Snoke comes out of nowhere, so there's just like a new emperor in town, and the First Order just there. Like, we're missing 30 years of stuff, and I don't understand how we got to this point, and they don't make that clear. They're just there, and we're just dealing with it.
30 years is a lot of ground to cover. It's a lot of ground to cover.
But there's just this guy, and they never... Does anybody mention him among the Resistance, Rebels, whatever? Do they talk about him?
They may have mentioned him once.
Yeah, and... Well, no, Han mentions, like, Snoke will destroy you. I'm like, but nobody mentioned this guy. Like, where did he come from? That was my main problem. It's just stuff popping up. There's a little bit of convenience. I could have done without the droids, the old droids. Like, you got BB-88? That's cool. He's the new R2-D2. R2-D2's taking a nap. Leave him taking a nap. Put the drapes right over him. And C-3PO, drape him too. And throw him off the freaking cliff. The one that opened up between rain and just toss him right in there.
To my understanding, from what I was reading... The guy who plays C-3PO and the guy who plays R2-D2 do not like each other. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think anybody's got time for that right now. So I think it was like, all right, listen, you, Anthony Daniels, you could play C-3PO in literally every Star Wars thing till the end of time. You're going to be in the movie for like 15 minutes. And that was also what I said on seeing the trailers. I said, I guarantee you the droids are going to be in this for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, they
basically were.
Yeah, they stuck him in there for a reference. Like, and he's also annoying when he pops up. Like, he pops in between me and does this little gag where he's like, "Oh, I don't understand that I'm in the freaking way." Okay, I'm going.
Look how annoying they are.
Yeah, and I was like, oh.
No, I like R2D. I do like R2D2. But
everyone likes him. It's like, we'll turn him on and throw C-3PO in that giant
But he wasn't in it
well.
very much.
I don't care. Throw him in the sun well. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, that didn't bother me. And then, okay, we got Luke for 5 seconds, and he didn't have one line.
That I was a little
silent,
upset about. Yeah,
they just stare at each other, and then they do this pan out shot.
Yeah,
you know, I'm like, okay, that's a weird shot. I don't know how I felt about that helicopter shot around them.
I guess that was kind of supposed to be like Luke finding Yoda, except in a less comical kind of way.
I don't know, but that's not a... Okay, I'll say this is not a Star Wars shot. That's a Tony Scott pan up Miami Vice helicopter rotation. Yeah. This is not Bad Boys. This is not Michael Bay.
It's hard to end, because like Empire ends on this really like hard note, like this really emotional note, and Jedi ends on a happy note, and so it's like, where do you end this?
Okay, well, I know the original movie ended. Was it Luke in the medical ship getting his fake hand?
Yes.
And then he's just looking out into space.
They're upset because Han has been taken. They don't even know if he's. Yeah. I think they know he's alive, but.
Well, they're the parallels too, because Finn is
right.
Badly injured. Right. But Kylo Ren owns him, and he looks like he's practically dead, but he's not. They get him back. Obviously, he's alive.
He's in bad shape,
and they're healing him at the Resistance base, and then Rey takes off to go find Luke, which. I guess Lightspeed is pretty fast. She just gets to where
it didn't look like she had to go very far.
No, it literally looked like they were traveling for a minute, and then they're like, boom, there he is.
So, yeah, and they've essentially passed the torch now. I feel like finishing Han's character was them passing the torch, and I don't know how much Carrie Fisher is going to be in the next one. Probably not very much. It's probably just going to be a lot of Mark Hamill. Probably in the same capacity that Harrison Ford was in this one is going to be Mark Hamill in the next one.
Right. Okay, so not sure. Abrams isn't directing the next one, right?
That's what you told me.
As far as I know, it was Colin Trevorrow, Jurassic World.
And he's gonna consult. or something.
I'm
He's going to produce or
yeah, I'm sure Bad
something.
Robot is going to still produce the movie. He's going to consult. I don't know what Abrams is doing, but I know that it was Colin Trevorrow was named as the Episode 8 director. So I don't know how the tone and everything's going to change for the next movie or whatever, or how much Mark Hamill's role is, because it's like, dude, it was built up in everyone's mind that Luke was going to have a big part in this movie, and he really didn't. He showed up at the very end.
I had a feeling, I was like, he's not on that poster. Either it's a bait and switch or he's not in the movie very much.
Well, I kind of in my mind wanted to believe he was Kylo Ren or something else.
That was my thing. I thought he was either Kylo Ren or he got killed.
Or he got killed, yeah.
Fairly early on.
And there was going to be flashback scenes.
Yes.
But there was none of that. And he's very much alive.
It wouldn't surprise me if Harrison Ford did a cameo in a flashback or something. But I don't think Harrison Ford and I don't think Carrie Fisher are going to have big roles in the next one.
They don't need to. They kind of, when the Rey says goodbye to her and whatever.
They kind of told their story.
Yeah. And there's not much left. The First Order is pretty much devastated. And please do not build another Star Killer or something. Yeah,
no more Death Stars, please.
That's enough. You built a way bigger,
2 was more than enough.
Horrible Death Star that could blow up multiple planets, and they did. They didn't just blow up Organia. They blew up 6 Republic worlds at once. That one shot killed billions of people. Okay, that's enough of that. And they did a trench run, and they did all the stuff from the old movies, and they blew up a planet-sized Death Star, and that's enough of that.
So the question is Finn going to be okay in the next one, or is he going to spend a big chunk of the movie like what happened to Han, where Han was incapacitated in the original trilogy? Is that going to happen?
Or you know what? No, I think there's going to be enough credit for his character. He's going to recover, but he's going to be on the Rebel base, and Rey is with Luke. Mm-hmm. And they're going to have to go somewhere. Meanwhile, Snoke and Kylo Ren are going to conspire and do stuff. So it's going to be that. And I don't know how big they're going to make the First Order. I just don't know. I thought all their eggs were... I'm just assuming all their eggs were on the Star Killer, right? But probably not. They're probably going to have another base. Snoke was obviously somewhere, so he has a power base somewhere. And we'll see that, but I don't know how that's going to play out. And I don't know what the payoff is going to be in the next movie, if it's going to be Kylo Ren is finally going to confront Luke.
They'll probably save that for the last movie. I would imagine.
I don't know what the payoff's going to be. That's just him training Rey, and then it's like, oh, you're my daughter, and then we'll finally get the line from the trailer, maybe?
Yeah. Well, again, in Empire, most of that movie was Luke training with Yoda. So, I have a feeling that these movies are going to echo whatever was going on in original trilogy. So, I'm not going to expect anything terribly different.
Oh, I have one more question. Was one of those planets Coruscant that exploded?
It looked like it, and I had the same thought. The one that they showed people?
Yeah, it looked like Coruscant.
I gotta look, because I don't know. But I had that same thought. I was like, man, that looks like Coruscant.
Right. And doing that, obviously there's other Republic worlds. That basically, the First Order just declared war on everyone, right? They killed all these people.
They exploded like 6 planets.
Whatever there is left of the Republic and their fleet is obviously going to go after him. So if all you were banking on was the Star Killer and everything in it, you're screwed, man.
Well, they did have a lot of Star Destroyers hanging around, so I got to figure they got more stuff. They got more resources than that. We don't know if they have a planet that's a base or what.
I thought that was the planet that was the base. The Star Killer was a planet.
Yeah. No, I mean a planet.
Oh, I don't know.
So we'll see. There's literally no information about the next movie other than the director. So we'll see what happens. We got a ways to go. 2018, I think.
Oh yeah, it's a couple of years. Yeah.
Depends how fast they start shooting this next one.
I don't know. You think Disney's just getting receipts? They're swimming in a money bin like, whoa,
they want to enjoy their money.
Shooting now.
They want to enjoy
We love money.
Yeah. So we'll see. But definitely a good, strong entry into Star Wars canon. Anything but the prequels.
Oh, I think that whole Okay, I'll say this. That Millennium Falcon fighting the 2 TIE fighters on that planet is better than any of the fighting scenes in the prequels.
Sure.
Any of the Starfighter scenes. Not
Sure.
the lightsaber battles, which are ridiculous. I'll take John Boyega fighting Kylo Ren over the overproduced 40-minute
Green
Anakin
screen,
versus Obi-Wan Kenobi
yeah.
in the lava world.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
In Green Screen Planet.
A green screen planet,
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely worth watching. And even if you're not a Star Wars fan, it's worth watching. But
yeah. I'm not a Star Wars fan, and I was impressed.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
Yeah, they did a very good job, and I think they treated the property with the utmost respect, which is important. I think it's a property that needs to be treated with respect. And, yeah, so anything else you want to say?
Yeah, go see it. I'm probably going to go see it a second time. If only to just find out who Max von Sydow's character was. Because I'm like, that's the beginning of the movie. I'm like, who was he? I don't understand.
He's the guy.
He's the guy, but, I mean, obviously he's important because Poe goes to see him, and he gives him the map to Luke Skywalker. Yeah. It's like, wait, how do you know? Who are you?
All right, so I guess that wraps it up. So thanks for listening, everybody.